Welcome back, everybody. Tonight we have a Stihl BG50 blower, and there's two of them actually. There's the other one's right there, and they both have the same problem, and that is starter issue. The rope broke. So I'm gonna repair the starters on those, and then I'm just going to do a little once over on them, you know, with the air filter, and maybe blow them off a bit, check the spark plug, stuff like that. Make sure it's ready to go, make sure it starts and runs. So let's get started. I'm going to take the tube off here, just so that when I'm moving it back and forth, I'm not clearing off my bench with it. So I'm gonna get it out of the way, and that way I can work with it without knocking stuff over. And that is a Torx T27. Just loosen them up, and let's see. Just give it a rotate and pull. It's keyed basically, so you got a notch over here and a little notch over there, corresponding notches inside here. Now we can work around with this without knocking stuff over. Let's see if we can get this side cover off and get to the starter assembly, and see if we can't get it repaired. And that is also a T27. The whole thing is probably a T27. And there looks like 3 screws that hold on that front cover, or starter cover assembly. And that slides right off. There's your broken rope right there. So I think I do have some starter rope here. While we're right here, we'll grab a hold of the flywheel and see if there's any play in the shaft. And there is not. So we're good there. We'll take a quick look at the air gap between the coil and the flywheel. And it looks like it's right about where it needs to be. I think we're good to go there. When you've done it long enough, you can kind of look at the gap to see if you're close or not. But if I had any doubts, I would definitely get my feeler gauges. I will also want to take a look at this muffler assembly and make sure this screen here is not plugged up. If it is, we'll have to clean it. We're going to take a look down into the air chamber here, and we're going to rotate the flywheel when we do that. And we're going to take a look at the fan blade that's in here. Make sure that there's no issues with it, no pieces missing off of it. And everything looks good there. And also pop this little screen off here. Just take a screwdriver and push them back and lift it right up. And we're going to try to move this wheel back and forth, up and down also, to make sure that the crankshaft on this side is good, and it is. There's no issues there. And we'll make sure that the fan blade is also on here tight. The screw bolt seems to be tight. There's no play in that fan wheel, so we know it's secure. I've had some of these come loose on handheld and backpack type blowers, where they just get a little loose and wobbly. Sometimes you got to replace the wheel because it wallered out. Sometimes it's just the nut had come loose over time. I take them off, put a little bit of Loctite on it, and snug it back up. Anyway, just our quick assessment there. Things appear to be fine. So on this muffler screen, it has a tab right here. Let me bend that out of the way. With just a pair of pliers, I've got a pair of needle nose here. And then grab the screen and slide it out. And there you go. And it is pretty clean. But if it wasn't, what I do to clean them, and it's the quickest and easiest way to clean them, is I take see the torch back there? I just heat this up, and it doesn't take no time at all to burn that off. And then I take my compressed air, just blow over it, and all the ash just flies right out of it. I used to try to scrub them with a wire brush, and it's just quicker and easier to do it with a torch. I do the same thing with my mufflers too. Sometimes you'll get some mufflers that are saturated with carbon and oil on the inside, and I will just burn them also. Larger mufflers, such as things for four-wheelers or even riding mowers. And I've only had to do it with one muffler this way, but I already had a fire going in my backyard, so I just tossed it in the fire for the bigger mufflers. And I had a four-wheeler one time, and it ran fine. It didn't smoke or anything while I had it, the muffler off. I did some motor work to it, got it back together, and before I put the muffler back on, I fired it up to make sure everything was okay. And no smoke at all. I put the muffler on it, I rolled it outside and fired it up. And when the muffler started to get warm, it started to smoke. I said, whoa, what's going on here, you know? Now all of a sudden I got smoke. So I got a little worried and started checking things out. Everything seemed to be fine, so I got curious. I took the muffler back off, no smoke. And so I looked into it as far as I could look into it, and I could see like a glossy sheen on the inside. So I figured that was probably just oil soaked. And like I said, I had a fire going in my backyard. I just took that muffler and tossed it right in that fire. And when that thing got nice and hot, it started turning red. Boy, it was smoking. It looked like a freight train. It was smoking so bad. But it took care of the problem. Put it back on the four-wheeler, and everything was good to go. So we're going to put this filter back in place. We'll bend that tab back over, and we're good there. The other thing I want to check on right here is this air filter assembly. It looks pretty nasty around it. I'm going to clean that off first. I'll bring you right back. It's going to get noisy. Alright, got it blown off. Looks a little bit better around there. Just a little spot. There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's clogged up pretty good. Look at all that grass bunched up in there. Yep. It's a wonder that thing ran at all. I'm not even sure if it does run yet. But as nasty as that filter was, I'm pretty sure it struggled to breathe. That's kind of nice. I'm not sure if anybody else does this, but there's the part number for this air filter assembly. Right on the filter itself. I know Briggs & Stratton does it with some of with their like paper cartridge type. So just for testing purposes, we're going to clean this off, and we will order him another one. I'm pretty sure I'll have to order 2 of them for the other one. If you have to blow out around the carburetor because there might be debris in here, make sure you got the choke closed. It'll help keep larger chunks and stuff from getting blown in there. Primer bulb seems to be okay. It's not broken or cracked. It's not leaking. And it is pulling fuel up. So the primer is working properly, and the check valve behind it is also working properly. Ooh. The fuel looks good in here. I can't smell that good anymore, but it doesn't look raunchy, and it kind of smells gassy to me. A little bit, the best I can smell. It's pretty bad when you can't even smell gas anymore. I don't think I see any water in here. That's probably good. Doesn't look raunchy and stale. I'm thinking that the fuel is pretty fresh because of the pressure that was behind it when I took the lid off. Kind of hissed at me. So, pretty sure it's in good shape. Yeah. That's weird. What does he say that? Alright, so we know we need to get at least one part for it, and that's the air filter. Just setting this off to the side. We will also put this guard back on. It feels like the spring might be in good shape on this one. So I'm either got to repair this rope or rewrap it. So I want to see how much rope is left on this thing. But I'll tell you what though, we've gotten so much rain around here, and they're calling for more on Saturday, I do believe. It is just a sloppy mess pretty much everywhere. My wife was looking at that, I think it's called Salisbury Undercover. And she read that there was a couple trees out our way that had just fallen over. The ground couldn't hold them no more. That's how saturated it is here. And before I come in here to start working on this, I had been outside to my ditch in the front yard. And I found 2 old trenches that I dug a few years back and got them uncovered so some of that water can start draining out to the ditch. And then I went to my culvert where my driveway is and made sure that was clear. And then I walked over to my neighbors and checked their culvert. And it was kind of plugged up and the water was barely flowing through it, so I got that cleared out for them. So things are flowing fairly well. Hopefully we get some of this water out of here, because I've had just about enough. My whole backyard's flooded. I got a sump pump out there. Water's so deep I can't get to it. So it'll just have to soak in the best it can. So it looks like our spring is in pretty good shape, just a little bit rusty. I'm going to spray some lubricant on that, and that should free things up a little bit. You know, right now I just got a little bit of PB Blaster. A lot of times I'll just use WD-40 in there. Factory likes to stick grease in there, but grease don't really do much. It kind of clumps up in one spot. So I always clean the grease out of it and just oil it. It seems to be the best thing for it, in my experience anyway. Just a light oil is all you really need. It looks like there's going to be enough rope on this spool. And I think it'll be okay. It's already spilling out over the top area. So I think we'll be fine. Just to redo the handle on it. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. There's a little washer here that goes over top of that assembly there. And well, hold on. Yeah. And you got to make sure that that little loop, I don't know how well you guys can see it, right there, locks into this gap on here. And you can drop your washer on top. And then you got this funny little clip. That little clip. It slides over that plastic assembly there. The little plastic piece in the middle there has got a groove in it. It's got to lock into that groove. But it also has to lock on to that starter pawl. Well, get on there. There we go. So that goofy little clip right there, it has got to slide over this centerpiece here. And there's a little nipple right there on that starter pawl. It has to go inside of that loop of that clip there. So then when you pull it, it activates everything like that. So now this is neutral right now. There's no tension on the spring. I've got the tail of the rope in my hand, and I'm just going to go 1 turn, 2 turns, and then I'll stick the tail right through the hole. Right through the hole there. And those 2 turns is enough preload. Is all the preload that you need. And then we'll tie a little knot in here. And we can let go and it'll sit there for you. And then we're going to reattach the handle. And I know I've shown a couple of these videos for starters, but so you just don't ever know what you're going to find from one starter to the next. On this one here, the only thing that was really wrong with it was just the rope itself. Just tie yourself a little knot there. Pull your little knot out there, and there we go. Good to go. Seems to work fine. If it breaks again, I mean, this rope is still in good shape, but if it does break again, there probably won't be enough rope there to make a repair. I'll probably have to rethread it. I believe how tiny that hole is for the exhaust. Just tiny. I don't even think you can get a pencil in that. That's just crazy. That's like you trying to run a marathon and breathing through a little tiny straw. You ain't gonna last very long. I know my fat butt wouldn't. I appreciate you guys visiting my channel. And I'm hoping that you're liking the content. It seems like there's some certain contents that people like more than others. And if I get that kind of stuff, I will definitely do a video on it. But I can't rely on that kind of stuff. There's certain things. or I just wouldn't make very many videos at all. So I make a video on anything I can, you know, a blower, a riding mower, a trimmer. But it seems like the saws is what, anything saw related, chain sharpening, chainsaws, they seem to be doing really good. Better than most of the other stuff. But like I said, I can't rely on that kind of stuff around here. This is not a logging industry area. What logging industry we do have is flat land, so they can use machinery to get it out with, and they don't need fellers. What little bit of saws that I do get most of the time is just like small residential stuff. Well, only thing we got left to do to this is let's see if it'll start. It runs. It needs a little bit of tuning. I don't think it's a very good or very strong one. I think mostly he probably uses this size just because of the sheer weight of it, and probably not so much just because it's strong and powerful, because as of right now it is not. There we go. Well, trying to see if I can find the CCs on this, what size it is. It's a 27 cc. It's fairly lightweight. I think it should do better. Tuning it might do better. We'll see what happens. I'll mess with it a little bit more, try to get it to run a little bit better. So, hopefully you like this video. If you do, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. Shoot me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have one of these things. Let me know what you think of yours. Be kind and help people when you can.